Time to talk about our top 10 quarterbacks for week 12. We're going to right here into the video. At number 10, we're going Brock Purdy. Now, this is one of those quarterbacks you want to say who is probably one of the more consistent, have a high floor type of quarterbacks. And I think this week, that's just kind of what he gives you. Lands him right here at number 10. You kind of know he's not going to go above and beyond and give you those, 350, 400 yard passing games, 4 touchdowns, massive games. Doesn't have a high floor because of his rushing ability. He's just a good quarterback and really just gets the job done for you in fantasy football. This week, he takes on a Packers defense ranked 7th against opposing quarterbacks. And what I have to say is, will his shoulder injury allow him to play? We already know he has a little bit of a injured shoulder. It's going to hurt him throwing the football. We know this. Going against Jordan Love on the opposite side of the field, boy, he's going to have to need his shoulder to keep up with how much the Packers are going to score. This is going to be a shootout. Anytime you get the Packers and the 49ers together, boy, there are some fireworks to be had in this situation. But Brock Purdy, like I said, he's got such a high floor just based on his consistency and what he's doing. He's got a lot of weapons out there, whether it be to Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, as he starts working back up. He could be the guy as well. It only helps out Brock Purdy have such a high floor. He doesn't have those 400 yard games, is why I don't have him way up there, in the top, 5 or so. But he's down here at 10 because he's good enough at fantasy football to keep you afloat, especially going into your fantasy football playoffs. I think he's a good quarterback to have because I think you could feel safe having him as your quarterback. Dude, does Christian McCaffrey take another step forward, become closer to the Christian McCaffrey that we all know? That's only going to help Brock Purdy out even more. Even without some of his help at the wide receiver position like Brandon Ayuk, you still got yourself some Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. You've got weapons out there. I think he has enough to get the job done. I think you're going to see Brock Purdy finish close to probably the top 10 quarterback. I have him at number 10 right here for me, and just going to kind of do a okay job. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what I expect him to do here in week 12. Move right along here at number 9. We're going over the other side of the coin here in Baker Mayfield. Now, like I was saying, he does get his toy there, Mike Evans, back. That should help out tremendously. He doesn't have to sit there and just focus on Cade Otton all the time. Now he's got somebody that's going to go really deep in Mike Evans. He should have a nice game himself. But looking at a little bit closer, right, they're going against the Giants defense that ranks 21st against opposing quarterbacks. Like I said, having Mike Evans back is going to boost Baker Mayfield's value just a little bit more in fantasy football. I like what these two have gotten going. I think it was more of a Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin type of connection before he was out for the season. Now I think it's let's go back to the well with Mike Evans, see what we got in that situation. And I think that you're going to have some touchdowns from Mike Evans. You're going to see Mike Evans go out there and put on a show. He should be able to have a solid fantasy number for you. Now he's got Mike Evans. Now he knows he's got Cade Otton as well. He's got some weapons out there to throw the football to. And keep in mind, Bucky Irvin's throwing those swing passes to the outside. I think that's going to help him out even more. He's got a lot of options for fantasy points. They're going to have to score a lot against the 49ers team that I believe is just better than them. So I think Baker Mayfield's playing in a negative game script, going to be able to throw the football a lot more. He can easily throw over 300 yards past the game. It wouldn't bat me an eye. He could throw over 300 yards without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He's a quarterback that's worthy of having in fantasy football. I like myself a lot of Baker Mayfield this week here in week 12. So move right along here at number 8. We're going Patrick Mahomes, right? That's kind of weird having Patrick Mahomes so far down here in fantasy football. He's just not giving you the outings that we're used to seeing from Patrick Mahomes. But I think he's going to have some weapons out there. I think Xavier Worthy's now getting into the mix. I think DeAndre Hopkins is kind of working out there. He's starting to get a little bit better. I just think it's all there for the Chiefs to be dominant, right? They're going to be throwing a lot to Travis Kelce. They might not even need Patrick Mahomes to win this game. This week, they're taking on the Carolina Panthers defense, ranks 26th against opposing quarterbacks. This would be like taking candy from a baby at this point. They're going to get a big lead. They are truly way better than any team. They got their first loss last week against the Bills. They're going to take it out on the Panthers. They're going to score a lot of fantasy points for you. And by the fourth quarter, they may be sitting their starters. I think it's going to be that kind of blowout. Panthers have no shot at even keeping this thing close. So if you're going to get your points the first 3 quarters out of Patrick Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, and who knows? They are even rumored to have even Isaiah Pacheco could be back running the football for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's going to be great. But I'm not crazy huge on Patrick Mahomes this week because I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think they're going to need him all 4 quarters throwing the football. But like I said, I had to have Patrick Mahomes here at number 8 for me. Move right along here at number 7. We're going Kyler Murray. This is a quarterback with a very high floor because of his rushing ability alone. And you start to see now Marvin Harrison Jr. is really coming into his own. They're starting to mature. The connection between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. is becoming pretty elite. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far this week. They're taking on a Seahawks defense ranks 20th against opposing quarterbacks. divisional matchup, right? It should prove to be, you know, really good for as far as fantasy points and fantasy numbers. You should see a lot of that. You know, they're going to be throwing a lot to the tight end position, a lot to the wide receiver position. And I think Kyler Murray, I'm telling you, whether they win the game or not, really not a factor for me. I just want Kyler Murray out there throwing the football and scoring a lot of fantasy points. Easily had to put it close to almost a top 5 quarterback for me this week, but I had to drop him here at number 7 for me. So I like myself some Kyler Murray. If you got him, you're definitely starting this guy. Absolutely amazing. Coming here at number 6, we're going Jared Goff. This is a quarterback that can really throw up the numbers better than anyone in the league right now if he's really on to his game. But Jared Goff, right, he's got a lot of options out there to throw the football to. I don't know what's going on with Sam Laporta. Anybody know where is Sam Laporta? Anybody seen Sam Laporta? Get this guy involved. Just last year as a rookie was absolutely phenomenal. Now he's almost absent from these games, throwing a lot more to his wide receivers. I think Jameson Williams may be having a big deal of why Laporta isn't needed very much. They're going deep to this guy. He's absolutely phenomenal, absolutely electric. You know, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown up there, and you got 2 workhorses in the back, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who's just doing the thing right now. So, you know, I don't know why, but I think that's more of it. I think Jameson Williams is more, he's going to be developing unless they're really going to use the tight end position. Jared Goff just like throwing the ball down the field. He likes doing that. But this week, they're taking on a Colts defense ranks 24th against opposing quarterbacks. Does A-Rich make this game more competitive, right? That's the question that I need to have right now, because you saw what Anthony Richardson was able to do last week. And that's what we all thought, at least here on this channel, that Anthony Richardson was going to be able to do coming into the season. He was my number 2 ranked quarterback behind Lamar Jackson. So he ended up getting benched, tapped it on his helmet, got taken out. Maybe he learned a lesson. Maybe he learned. I mean, he had a really good percentage, you know, passing the football. He's getting up there, getting up and down, you know. I mean, he can get even better, right? I mean, he was up to 55 or 50-something% throwing the football last week. That's not where we want him at. We want him in the 70s. But I think that's an upgrade for Anthony Richardson. Almost 300 yards passing, 3 rushing touchdowns. He was doing it. I'm telling you. So we'll see what happens. If he can keep it competitive, you're going to see a lot of points back and forth. And that's going to make these quarterbacks even better for you in fantasy football. I like myself some Jared Goff. I think he gets the job done here in week 12. So move right along here at number 5. In my top 5, Bo Nix. Yes, Bo Nix is in my top 5. He started to develop into one heck of a quarterback. Sean Payton is linking himself to Bo Nix just like he did with Drew Brees. And he was the most Drew Brees-like quarterback coming out of the NFL draft. The guys, when I was doing my reviews of Bo Nix coming out of the University of Oregon, throwing to Troy Franklin, I said, look, Bo Nix fits really good with Sean Payton. Sure enough, he drafts him. Now look at what he's doing. I mean, throwing 300 yards passing. The dude's very consistent. He doesn't throw turnovers. He's got a high completion percentage. I like what I'm seeing from Bo Nix. But this week, we see Bo Nix go against the Raiders defense, ranks 25th against opposing quarterbacks. He's literally playing out of his mind right now. And I think against a Raiders team that really is not going to give him any kind of competition whatsoever, you should see Bo Nix go out there and just light it on fire. And on top of all that, the Broncos defense, there's some studs out there. Patrick Surtain just locking some things down. There's a lot of things that are going down, and I really like myself some Bo Nix. I think he can get the job done. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback for you, not only this week, but in the future. If you have him in Dynasty Football, I think Bo Nix can really get the job done. Like myself some Bo Nix. Get him into your lineups in week 12. Move right along here. At number 4, I'm going Justin Herbert. He's really starting to put on a show and doing a lot of things that we knew that he could do. When he was coming out at the beginning of the season and playing like absolute cockadoodle, I didn't know what was going on with Justin Herbert. I know he doesn't have the receivers like he did with this Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but now that Ladd McConkey's coming around, you know, Quentin Johnston's really coming around. Will Disley at the tight end position, he's starting to find out who his pieces are, and he's throwing the football. This week, they take on a Ravens defense ranks 30th against opposing quarterbacks, putting up God-tier numbers right now. You gotta love yourself some Justin Herbert at this point. He's putting up solid fantasy numbers. Easily in my top 10 and a lot you guys saw throughout this season. We're in week 12 right now. I couldn't tell you. I could probably count it on just maybe a couple fingers how many times I've had Justin Herbert into my top 10. I love seeing him in my top 10. I think he's going to sling the football a lot. He's very good at throwing the football down the field and throwing some touchdowns. Herbert is going to continue to blossom, continue to flourish, and be the quarterback we all know that he can. I think he has a great opportunity here in week 12. I think he gets the job done yet again. Love myself some Justin Herbert. Move right along here in week 12 at number 3. We're going Jaden Daniels. This is a quarterback we all know how high his floor is just because of his rushing ability alone. He's doing a lot of good things. He's kind of electric in his own right, but more of a pocket passer that can use his legs if needed. So he has a high rushing total already this season, and he's having a nice connection with Terry McLaurin, really doing a good job. This week, they're taking on Cowboys defense that ranks 28th against opposing quarterbacks. I mean, easy pickings this week is what I would say. everybody's beating up on the Cowboys, right? They're a team that can't do anything correct. They're just a bunch of just trash bags out there at this point. They're even wondering if they should be trading Micah Parsons. So, I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing over there in Jerry's world, but he needs to sell that team quickly because they are going downhill. Very talented and can't get a win. Didn't even matter when they had Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and all these guys. They just can't get it done. Don't know what's going on over there, but I'm loving myself some Jaden Daniels. I think he goes in there and just absolutely wrecks the Cowboys. There's nothing they can do to stop these teams. And at the running back position, you got Brian, what is it? Man, it's just drawing a blank. Brian Robinson. Why did I draw a blank all of a sudden? Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, right? That's how you know that's a live brain fart here. That's how you know we don't do any edits over here. It's one straight cut all the way through. Don't matter if we mess up or not. We're doing it all the way through. It is what it is. But you saw a live brain fart right there. But yeah, Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler's going to run all over the Cowboys. Let's just face it. That's going to happen. I think Jaden Daniels is going to run all over the Cowboys. He can throw wherever he wants. This is going to be a good fantasy football performance. I think I'm going to like what I'm going to see from Jaden Daniels. Moving here, number 2, we're going Lamar Jackson, one of the most electric football players in the NFL right now. It's going to give you a lot of fantasy points, right? But whether he's running with his legs or throwing with his arm, he's doing a lot of good things. Getting over Deontay Johnson, I think, was a plus for him, and Zay Flowers as well. Getting Isaiah Likely back from injury was great last week. Mark Andrews is doing Mark Andrews things, not really what we're used to seeing from him. But having Derrick Henry in the backfield has really opened up a lot of this play calling for Lamar Jackson, even making him even more deadlier. This week, they're taking on a Chargers defense ranks 15th against opposing quarterbacks. Should be a competitive game, right? With Justin Herbert getting even better, doing a lot more, producing a lot more numbers, you're going to see Lamar Jackson have to put the workload on his shoulders even more to get the victory here. And I think that you're going to see a lot of fantasy points from Lamar Jackson, maybe even more than what you're used to seeing. Man, I like myself some Lamar Jackson in week 12. That leads us all the way to number 1 here. We're talking about Jalen Hurts. This is a quarterback, right, that we already knew. At the beginning of the season, I told you guys the tush push is almost dead. They're going to give a lot of those rushing ability and rushing touchdowns to Saquon Barkley, but I think that he's kind of making up for that through the air, right? Throwing a lot to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Now they're having Dallas Goedert back as well. I think overall, this offense is a nice cohesive unit. I think having Kelsey retiring as a center in the offseason hurt this offense early on in the season. Now they're kind of learning how to pick it up and be a little bit better down the stretch. The defense probably needs to pick it up a little bit more. And so let's just face it, Saquon Barkley is carrying this team right now. That's just my opinion. But I think overall for fantasy football wise, Jalen Hurts has the opportunity to give you top-end stud points each and every week, and he does that consistently. This week, taking on a Rams team right now, ranks 16th against opposing quarterbacks. Should be a plenty of fantasy points on both sides. We're going to see Matthew Stafford put up some points himself, probably going over 300 passing yards with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. They're going to be doing their thing, right? And what's going to happen is Jalen Hurts going to have to respond. I think that's going to be absolutely fantastic. This is going to be a great opportunity for Jalen Hurts to go out there and do his thing. Get it all said and done. I love myself some Jalen Hurts here in week 12. But that's our top 10, right? Quarterbacks for week 12, guys. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. Is there any quarterback that I did not put in my top 10 that you believe should be here in the top 10? We're pumping out so many videos, guys, each and every week, right? We want to best help you set the best lineup possible going into the fantasy football playoffs so that way you can ultimately win a championship. Can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.